Welcome to the Darwinian Delusions channel. This channel is dedicated to showing that Darwinism is speculative, based on assumptions, and there's disputes about its most fundamental ideas. And we do this only using mainstream secular academics. Now, whenever you have a discussion with an atheist about the existence of God, and you give them an analogy like, look at our brain, and the fact that this brain is more complex than the most sophisticated, supercomputers on Earth, they're just likely to say, no, Darwin explained it all, evolution explains this, evolution explains that, and they can't even consider the possibility that there is a God, and they cannot even consider the possibility that there is design because they have this belief Darwin explained it all. Look, Darwin didn't explain it. Darwin, in his book, The Origin of Species, only describes how you get development of life, how you can get the Great Dane and the Chihuahua from an original stock. That's about it. It can only explain how life develops, and even that's very questionable. But let's just go along with their fairy tale. What they say is 3 to 4 billion years ago, there was the first self-replicating cell, and that led to the billions of species alive today. Okay, let's go with that fairy tale, even though we can ask, why one origin? Why 3 to 4 billion years ago? Why can't we say there was 19 origins 1 billion years ago and 30 origins 2 billion years ago and one origin 7 billion years ago? I mean, where did they get these details from? It wasn't like somebody was sitting there and thinking, okay, life is developing, there's the first cell, and it's kind of like watching those TV programs with those horses running. Oh, now we have a new species coming out of this, and now we have this, and this whole idea that they've worked out the history of life is just nonsense. But let's just go along with their fairy tale. Let's ask them, where did this first cell of yours come from? Because remember, the first cell is not some jelly. It's not like flubber, right? It is like London during its busiest time. It's like, trams, buses, buildings, people working, offices, helicopters. It's teeming with activity. So where did this first cell come from? Francis Crick, an evolutionary atheist biologist and a Darwinist, this is what he had to say in his book, Life Itself. He comes up with the idea that life was sent down to Earth by aliens, and then it developed to where it is today. Now, you may question that and say, hang on a second, that doesn't make any sense. You just said there's no design. You just said there's no God. But because he's an evolutionary atheist biologist, the Darwinists don't actually question that he believes in intelligent design, because for them, as long as you don't call God the designer, you can call aliens designers. It's not really an issue. But let's just go along with that. We can further ask the question, where did those aliens come from? You're still back to the same problem. Where did life come from? This is where Oxford biologist Richard Dawkins comes to the rescue of his buddy Francis Crick. He says, look, it's all right. What basically happened was, those aliens, they must have evolved. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. They evolved. And how did they evolve? They evolved via Darwinism, by Darwinian evolution. Okay. So then we can ask Richard Dawkins that this stupid idea of yours, it doesn't explain where the first cell of those aliens came from. But obviously we're not going to get the chance to actually do that, because he doesn't like debating people who actually have common sense. The fact of the matter is, whether it's Francis Crick or Richard Dawkins or Jerry Coyne or Aaron Ra or any of these guys, they have this blind belief, and this blind belief holds them in a cage and it refuses to let them out. They have this blinker on. No, they can't be a god. So they look at anything and they say, yeah, that's my roadkill too. That came via Darwinism. The fact of the matter is, this is just complete nonsense speculation, and it's very disputable. Francis Crick gave this piece of advice to biologists because he realized they might look at something and say, that's designed. So he said to them, whatever you see, remember, it evolved. It wasn't designed. You can clearly see that Darwinian evolution is a metaphysical research program, as the philosopher of science Karl Popper called it. It is an idea about how to get rid of the idea of God in biology. It's not even science, it's actually a religion. And I'm planning on making a few more videos about why it is actually a religion, why it is actually a system with its own ethics, and it's not just science. I hope you learned something from this episode. If you have anything you want us to respond to, please comment below. Assalamu alaikum.